Well, the death toll on the Eastern Cape roads has risen to over 90. The Eastern Cape is now ranked third in terms of death fatality since the 1st of December. Alarming rates for this really small province. But equally so, the road officials have done what they can to make sure that they ensure that people are safe on the road. To date, over 1,000 arrests have been done to make sure that people that don't comply with the rules of the roads are brought to book. But to join me this afternoon to tell us more about the work that the road officials are doing to ensure that you and I are safe on the roads is the spokesperson for the Department of Transport, Mr. Unathi Binqose. Mr. Binqose, really alarming race for the Eastern Cape, but road officials doing what they can to make sure people are safe as they head out home for the festive season.
Without a doubt, the department is very, very disturbed by the high number of people who have died on our roads this festive season. I mean, we are 20 days into what we refer to as our festive season, and it was sitting at about 93 people who have passed on, which is a very, very disturbing number. And of course, there's that untold number of people who have sustained life-altering injuries, people who are in critical conditions in hospital, who may well add, as God forbid, who may well add into that number. So we are very, very disturbed, but of course we wish to commend our traffic officers and all our law enforcement officers. As you can see here, it's a joint operation, not just by the traffic officers, but they're in partnership with the police and of course the Metro Police here, and it's something that is happening all across the province, particularly focusing on our major roads, our major entry points like your N2 right here, your N6, your N10, you name them, your R63. Those are some of our focus areas, because we know that this weekend is by far going to be the most critical for us as the race to Christmas hits the home stretch, and we expect that the volume of traffic is going to be high going forward. And of course our traffic officers and all our law enforcement officers are going to have to be up to task going forward to ensure that at the very least we are able to reduce the number of accidents that would have happened going forward. So we're optimistic, we are hopeful, and we understand that they are fired up, they are ready for the task, and they also want to ensure that we do not have any more fatalities on our roads.
Mr. Binqose, human error, as you said earlier on, also blamed for the high number of deaths in the Eastern Cape. Just your warning to motorists as they head out to their holiday destinations.
You said pedestrians?
Just human error, like you were saying earlier on, that human error predominantly the main cause of the high accident rate in the Eastern Cape.
No, without a doubt. I mean, a lot of the accidents that we have experienced on our roads are not necessarily due to the condition of the vehicles, the condition of the road, but it's down to human error. Things like people who are driving at very high speeds in areas where they are not supposed to. Even if you are supposed to, there's a sign that says you can drive at 120. But if you are looking around and you are assessing the situation and you see that it's not safe to do that, rather don't do it at all. And of course, one of the major contributing factors is the people who are driving drunk. And I'm glad to say that we've arrested quite a number of those. And by those arrests, we believe that we may have saved a lot of lives and a lot of injuries that may have been sustained on our roads. So we're proud and we want to commend our law enforcement officers for that. But people should refrain from doing any of those things. I mean, you can spare yourself the pain of living your life with eternal injuries. You can spare your family of the grief of having to mourn your passing just by obeying the rules of the road, and of course ensuring that you drive dry. If you want to drink, ensure that you've got a sober driver next to you, because if we catch you driving drunk, the Department of Transport under the stewardship of Mewaziwe Tikana has licensed our officers to ensure that they deal harshly, particularly with those who are caught driving drunk, because it is one of the major problems. It's one of the major contributing factors to the deaths on our road, not just by drivers, also by pedestrians, because we also have a high number of pedestrians that have passed on, and the majority of them were drunk at the time of their death.
And then also other people that are forgotten during this time are the pedestrians, also obviously affected on the roads as well. So like you were speaking earlier on, saying drunken driving also a huge factor in terms of pedestrians walking around without coloured clothes and walking around drunk. Are they also affected during the festive season?
Yes, they are. And, on reflection, we probably realize that maybe our messaging has focused a lot on drivers, particularly public transport drivers. And we'll blame government for that. I mean, if a bus or a taxi, a driver is doing something wrong there, it would be a whole lot of people affected. Maybe we may have neglected the pedestrian a little bit. So we need to revisit that and ensure that we remind our people. I mean, they already know these things, that you need not drive, rather walk drunk. You need not cross the highways like this one. And of course, at night you have to wear bright colored clothing. So we need to reinforce those messages and ensure that people go back to basics and ensure that they can save their lives just by doing that. So it's another area that we probably need to revisit to ensure that we do not have as high a number of people who are dying, particularly who are pedestrians on our roads.
Well, that was a spokesperson of the Department of Transport, Mr. Unathi Binqose, urging drivers to drive dry. Don't partake in any alcohol. Make sure that your car is licensed. And above all, pedestrians, make sure that as you walk on the road, you are also sober and wear clothing that's visible on the road. And to all the people heading out to the holidays, make sure that you comply to the rules of the road as well. It's back to you in studio.